Now they took the survey again. 58% say it's okay for a felon to be 17% of Republicans said it was okay. Only 17%. Okay.
68% of Americans believe that a candidate's spouse is crucial to their campaign. Melania Trump's noticeable absence will hurt Trump's goals for 2024, according to Bill Maher.
This is more evidence of what I'm always saying about Trump, arguing with people. He's not a mastermind. He's not thinking ahead like that. He does not think ahead. He's a crazy person.
Despite being funny, Maher's joke has a big impact on Trump's prospects of winning. Bill Maher's zinger speech from his most recent show is still making ripples in the comedy industry, specifically with the Trump circus.
I read today that he's in Orange County tomorrow, which I thought, oh, orange, him, orange, I get it. What? Tell me everybody didn't think that.
Just keep it in mind, Maher's really staggered. He dropped a bombshell when he asked, "Do felony convictions invalidate a marriage?" and laughed off the idea that Melania Trump had been researching the topic on Google. Jokes like this make you look blank. Has he stated this before?
I believe here at Real Time that when you look at people's Google searches, it does reveal a lot about them. For example, Melania Trump Googled, do felony convictions invalidate a prenup?
It's clear now that Melania, the evasive First Lady, might be trying to avoid talking about the Trump scandal. This joke is highlighting Trump's less-than-ideal marriage image, and Melania hasn't exactly helped her husband out with his legal issues, to be honest. Even though it must be challenging to be married to a walking scandal seeker, this joke manages to pique people's interest in the Trump's relationship. He claims Melania is exhausted from his antics. Who's to blame? The world has speculated about what happens behind closed doors, and their grandmother, Melania, is just waiting to annoy us.
Okay, why do all the political families have this ne'er-do-well f***up family member?
Not only a gratuitous barb, Maher's practical joke makes for some thought-provoking reading. Here is a declaration about the current status of the Trump union. You know something is seriously wrong when hilarious material comes up in your wife's fictitious Google searches.
Here at Real Time that when you look at people's Google searches, it does reveal a lot about them. For example, Melania Trump.
Maher is mocking Trump and showing the foundation's flaws, making the timing even better. Maher's remarks appear to be a well-aimed strike, considering the growing litany of legal issues that Trump is facing. Even though you know there could be dire repercussions, you nevertheless laugh out loud at this kind of humor.
That's right. In New York, a jury of his peers found Donald Trump guilty on 34 counts. That woke him up. The prosecutor gets up and says, no one is above the law in this country. It doesn't matter who you are or what your name is. And all the Republicans stood up and fist pumped and went, yeah. And then they went, oh, wait.
And what does this suggest for Trump's chances of weathering the storm, given that Melania is considering leaving the administration? This is no lighthearted joke. Furthermore, this zinger makes you consider important issues. In addition to making people laugh uncontrollably, Maher wants individuals to see how absurd the Trump administration is. Right now, the joke is aimed at Trump, who has built a successful career out of making fun of other people, not to be distracted by the wonderful irony.
If they do it to me, this could happen to anyone. Yes, of course. I'll have to remember that next time I'm cheating on my third wife with a porn star to pay her off when I'm running for president.
It's not acceptable. And I was surprised because that is not the man that I know.
How do you feel going into closing? Where's Melania?
A cosmic viewpoint that says roles are reversed to serve justice. Maher's joke reminds us that even the most powerful people can be brought down by a witty remark. Bill Maher's latest joke is just one of his many witty comments that have enraged President Trump. Maher's long-running monologues have been a fantastic feast of digs at President Trump. Some of Maher's funniest comments have been directed at the person who so vehemently proclaims themselves to be the master of the arrangement. One example of this is Maher's remark that Trump's perfect pick for the Supreme Court would have resembled a Fox News anchor. Trump is also upset about other matters. Maher has used his influence to share with the onliners the most embarrassing moments of the previous president. It increased my bad experience when he compared the Trump administration to a Category 5 Twitter storm. Remember that President Trump joked that he had never looked at something burning brighter than himself before and made fun of the fact that he was staring straight at the solar eclipse. He also talked about the occasion when he won a test of cognitive capacity. Maher claimed that the exam was so simple that he passed it easily, like playing tic-tac-toe against a chicken, though it's likely that his assaults on Trump have been the most damaging. Maher mocked Trump's well-known coffee tweet by saying that it was the sound of Melania changing the locks on the White House doors. He also made fun of his joke about how artificial Trump's hair was, implying that it should be summoned in as a witness. Maher continues to speak truthfully to authority figures. His remarks are funny, but they also have a deeper meaning. They hold those in positions of power accountable. According to available data, Maher has thoroughly investigated the Trump case. Bill Maher is more than just a fantastic performer. He is also a powerful force in public opinion movements because of his astute critique of Donald Trump. His followers gobble up his portrayal of stark reality, which is heavily laced with sarcasm, like a midnight snack following a late-night Twitter scroll in fear of some horrible event. His sardonic style of humor tears through the silliness, hypocrisy, and contradiction surrounding the former president. Of course, he is laughing, but he's also making the audience laugh as he breaks the illusion of Trump's invincibility with every zinger that highlights the emperor's new clothes, or lack thereof, and every joke that reveals a gap in the armor. When someone wears a MAGA hat, their perspective changes subtly yet noticeably. Consider how Maher made fun of Melania Trump's conspicuous absence from his legal issues. It's not just a cheap shot directed at a failing marriage, it's also a sly assessment of how unstable Trump's support base is and how firm his foundation might actually be. The joke's remark, that even his own wife might not back him, eats away at the edges of Trump's skillfully crafted persona long after the laughter stops. Perhaps the most devastating of all of Maher's humorous claims is his juxtaposition of Biden's handling of his son's legal matters with Trump's blatant disregard for the law. He gives the impression of a president who thinks he is above the law, even though it is difficult for him to do so personally. Another way Maher highlights the divisions within the GOP is by criticizing the party's incoherence about legal accountability and highlighting its tenuous support for a possible felon as president. It is challenging to accept this analogy. Bill's tiny asides have a huge political impact. His playful jabs at Trump and the Republicans not only make people laugh, but they also change voters' opinions of the circus as a whole. Politicians begin to seem foolish as Maher points out how ridiculous the GOP's Law and Order Act is. But undermining Trump isn't the primary objective. His observations, that even Trump's wife seems to be ignoring him throughout his legal troubles, are like a giant neon sign that says, "If Melania won't stand by her man, why the hell should we?" Maher's jokes, a welcome change of pace from the usual political nonsense, compliment Biden on his justice and ethics, while also praising him for handing off cases involving his own son Hunter to the Department of Justice. Sure, everyone likes to laugh, but when a comic like Bill Maher starts to point out the holes in the Trump story.
And the right is wrong to pretend it means something, except possibly about Joe Biden's parenting. Okay, why do all the political families have this ne'er-do-well fuck-up family member?
Possesses the ability to drastically change public opinion. Voting on Election Day and staring at Trump may also cause MAGA hat supporters to wonder if their fearless leader is really just a huge orange windbag, a farce nation's president. Who wants that? However, the power of a well-timed joke may not be undervalued. In a world where politics frequently resembles a negative reality TV show, a little bit of lighthearted comfort goes a long way. If this happens, the Republicans will squeal.
He goes. That's what the Republicans do. They go where you wouldn't expect them to go, you know? They're not afraid. They're not afraid to take their message to the people who don't agree with them right off the bat.
Trump's wiggle is the icing on the cake. Maher, a keen swordsman, employs humor, referencing the age-old strategy of political pundits. In particular, he is adept at timing his attacks to cause the greatest amount of damage to Donald. When Maher's jokes are employed in a political setting, they imply something more than merely humor. Through highlighting the quirks and inconsistencies that define controversial individuals like Trump, Maher exposes the truth that lies beyond their skillfully crafted facades. Though they might seem like low-hanging fruit, the legal problems Trump is facing, which made light of Melania's wondering if a criminal record makes a marriage void, actually reveal a darker truth about the antagonism among the former president's closest allies. If the goal is to accomplish anything more than mock Trump, it is imperative to demonstrate the ways in which his actions affect his personal and political existence. Furthermore, when Maher cracks jokes about Republican hypocrisy regarding respect for the law, he is speaking out against the selective application of principles and making the powerful accountable for their actions. Maher's sense of humor reduces the gap between the strong and the weak. Even the president is subject to the law, as Maher makes clear. Humor may be an important contribution to political debate because it can make difficult issues easier for the general public to understand. Maher's attempt to connect the dots between Hunter Biden's conviction and allegations of unjust targeting by the Department of Justice is not only entertaining, but it also aids in the public's understanding of the complexities of party politics by presenting the case in a humorous way. Maher can help make politics, a generally difficult subject, more approachable. Since there is always an exception to the rule, and this is the real situation, nobody should be shocked by this. Similarly, nobody should be shocked by the idea that there are always two sides to a story. The axiom that holds that nothing changes is always applicable. It is impossible to understand the phrase in any way. It's easy to mock someone like Trump for his conceit, but it's also easy to downplay the gravity of the actions they've taken to alienate members of an organization. Reaching any one of these two objectives is not insurmountable. Each and every one of them strongly believes that this is something achievable. Every single one of these applications represents a promising course of action for the future. Maher risks trivializing the very serious repercussions of their conduct when he makes jokes about members of political families who are thought to be in continual conflict. These are all fascinating alternatives that may be put into practice and have realistic uses. That's precisely what he's doing when he jokes about them. This is due to the fact that Maher frequently cracks jokes about people who are perceived as bad people. This is especially true as Maher models his jokes on the actions of people who are similar to him. Imagine the following situation. Maher cracks jokes about people who are typically viewed as undesirable. This is because Maher regularly makes jokes about people who are perceived as successful. For this reason, situations are the way they are. One of the reasons things are the way they are is because Maher makes fun of those who are viewed as successful. This is the rationale behind the current situation. The fact that the situation is being evaluated in light of the knowledge at hand might be used to explain the current state of things. By achieving this perfect balance within the instance, the subject of this examination, Maher has shown that he can reach his potential. Although the situation is challenging, Maher has provided evidence. Bill Maher's comedy is vital because it acts as a social mirror and makes us laugh even in the most horrible situations. The following explains why it's necessary. Knowing the circumstances and carefully weighing both factors at once is crucial. It is crucial to recognize the significance of realizing that meeting this demand is necessary, and these two tasks must be completed right away. His remarks regarding Melania Trump's glaring absence and Trump's legal troubles struck a deep chord with me because they exposed how ludicrous the circumstances are. His words truly stayed with me because they highlighted how ridiculous the scenario was. His comment really resonated with me because I found the phrases in question to be quite moving. For this very reason, a conclusion can be drawn from their clear and concise explanation of how absurd the scenario is. This additional conclusion can be drawn from their explanation and window into the factors that contribute to the absurdity of the circumstance. In addition, Maher's comedy is a powerful tool that can be employed to influence public opinion and start pertinent conversations. To put it another way, its delivery is meant to make people laugh. This is just one example of Maher's humor. You performed Maher's comedy for a number of reasons, one of which is that you gave this particular factor careful thought and followed through on your decision. In addition, there are a plethora of other answers that are available by exposing the government's flaws in a manner that is not possible with dry news reporting. Maher is able to draw attention to the shortcomings of the administration. This is because he exposes the shortcomings of the government. This in turn enables him to draw attention to the things that the administration is lacking in terms of performance. As a consequence of this, he is in a position to create awareness about the deficiencies that are possessed by the government. To be more specific, this is the matter that ought to be taken into consideration when it comes to bringing the deficiencies of the president to light. One of the ways that he achieves this objective is by poking fun of the hypocrisy personality and ego of Donald Trump, which is one of the ways that he accomplishes and contributes to the accomplishment of this mission. It was one of the many strategies that he employed in order to accomplish this goal. And one of those strategies was laughing at Trump. He is able to do this because of a wide range of different approaches. There are vast chasms that exist in our political conversation, and his ideas on the seeming double standard that the Republicans have in backing Trump at any cost and their selective hatred towards Hunter Biden brought these CMS to life. Furthermore, he thinks Republicans should never be permitted to support Trump. He thinks the Republican Party's policies show a double standard and that Hunter Biden should be held accountable for his actions. The diversity of opinions in our political discourse draws attention to the many CMS that need to be taken into account and sheds light on the actuality of these gaps. He made these comments in response to a specific statement made by a Republican Party member. He tried to express his thoughts in his speech, as well as address the criticism he had heard. He responded to those criticisms by taking this specific action.